All right, eighth grade, we are continuing on talking about polynomials. Today our focus is on subtracting polynomials. And you're going to see pretty quick that this is actually pretty much the same exact thing that we did in the previous lesson on adding polynomials. I do want to show you one thing because your paper that you talk about will talk about you putting it in column form or writing it vertically. And this is a good example of that. 5x plus y minus 3x minus 2y. And I'm just going to show you this on this example because you can do this. Where we're going to go ahead and write 5x plus y. And then we're going to subtract 3x minus 2y. Okay? And so we're going to kind of put this negative in parentheses so that we can kind of see what's going on here. So first of all, this is going to be a 5x minus a positive 3x. It's a positive 5 minus a positive 3, which that's going to be a positive 2. So that's going to be 2x. And then we have a 1y minus a negative 2y. So it's a positive 1y minus a negative 2y. It's very important that you look at it that way. So essentially, when I subtract a negative, I know that I'm adding. So it's 1 plus 2, which is going to be a plus 3y. 2x plus 3y. It's not hard. I kind of prefer the other way, which is how I'm going to do these last two examples, but we'll talk about that. Let me close that parentheses off. So first of all, remember the first thing we have to do based on what we did yesterday is remove the parentheses. Okay, the only difference is now instead of yesterday, you had a plus sign here. Now you have a minus sign here. There's nothing outside this set of parentheses, so it's like it's a positive 1. So nothing's going to change. When I multiply everything by a positive 1, it's still going to be a positive 3x squared. It's still going to be a negative y squared. And it's still going to be a plus z. That's a z. Now remember, when I multiply everything by a negative 1, the signs change. Negative 1 times a positive 1 is going to be a negative x squared. Negative 1 times a negative y squared is going to be a plus y squared. And a negative 1 multiplied by a negative 2z is going to be a plus 2z. All right, so now let's go ahead and put things in order alphabetically and descending. The only x I'm worried about is this 3x squared and this negative x squared. So it's essentially a positive 3 and a negative 1. 3 minus 1, okay? 3 minus 1 is 2x squared, okay? And a negative y squared, all right, because a 3 and a minus 1 is a plus 2, a negative y and a plus y. That's just going to cancel each other out. Negative 1 plus 1 is nothing, so that's not even part of my answer. And then a plus 1z, remember there's a 1 when there's no variable there, and a plus 2z, a positive 1 and a positive 2 make a positive 3z, and that's my final answer. Okay? All right, moving right along. Let's look at this last one. Once again, we're going to remove the parentheses. This is a negative 1, so all the signs are going to change. Negative 1 times a positive 12 is a negative 12x to the power of 3. Negative 1 times a positive 10 is going to be a negative 10y to the power of 2. Negative 1 times a positive 1 is going to be a negative y. This is also a negative, so a negative times a positive x to the power of 3 is going to be a negative x to the power of 3. A negative 1 times a negative y squared is going to be a plus y squared. And a negative 1 times a negative y is going to be a plus y. So now let's find the like terms. Well, the only x I'm worried about is the negative 12x3 and the negative x to the power of 3. So it's a negative 12 and a negative 1, which combine to be a negative 13 x to the power of 3. You'll notice that the variable and the exponent does not change. All right, so that takes care of those two. Then I have a negative 10y squared and a plus y squared. So that's a negative 10 and a positive 1. Well, a negative 10 and a positive 1 combine to be a negative 9 y to the power of 2 because the variable and the exponent do not change. And then I have a negative y and a positive y, which just cancel out to be 0. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So I end up with negative 13 x to the power of 3 minus 9y to the power of 2. All right, talk to you later, grade 8. Bye.